It seems things are starting to calm down a bit in Louisville, Kentucky, with today being the first day that the city's police did not give an update or release new information about Monday's deadly bank shooting. 5 people were killed, 8 others were injured, including 2 Louisville Metro police officers. Police have identified the victims and the shooters. They did that on Monday. On Tuesday, the police then released the body camera video from the 2 officers who rushed to the scene. That's where they were ambushed by the shooter. Then yesterday, police released harrowing 911 calls about what was happening inside the bank. The 911 calls are too upsetting for us to play on the air, but we now know who police heard from on that day. The very first call came in from a woman who was on a Teams meeting at another location, but witnessed what happened inside the conference room and called 911. People who were hiding inside that conference room also called as the gunman was continuing to shoot. And the shooter's mother called 911 after his roommate warned her about her son's plans. Well, services for the 5 victims start today with a visitation for Tommy Elliott. Visitations and funerals are now scheduled for 3 other victims through Sunday: Deanna Eckert, Joshua Barrick, and Jim Tutt. No arrangements have been announced so far for Juliana Farmer. Now, hearing about tragedies like what happened in Louisville is definitely hard on all of us, and you might be looking for a way to help. And a big way that you can make an impact right now is by donating blood.
Volunteer blood donors are needed each and every day to help save lives. This tragedy illustrates that it's the blood that's already on hand and on the shelves that helps during an emergency. Type O negative is the universal blood type. And that is what the emergency room personnel use and what they reach for when they don't have time to determine a blood type. And that's one of the types that is needed most.
Like you just heard, type O negative is the most needed blood type, but all blood donations are helpful. You can find more information about donating blood on WFNYnews2.com. Just search Donate Blood. You can also support the officer who was shot in the head while responding to the shooting. Officer Nicholas Wilt was just sworn in on March the 31st and was working his 4th shift when he was shot. The Louisville Metro Police Foundation is raising money to support him and his family to take care of the medical and the recovery expenses. Now, following the deadly bank shooting, Louisville's mayor made a call for action, asking lawmakers on the state and the national level to do something about the continuous gun violence epidemic.
This isn't about partisan politics. This is about life and death. This is about preventing tragedies. You may think this will never happen to you, never happen to any of your friends or loved ones. I used to think that. The sad truth is that now no one in our city, no one in our state, no one in our country has that luxury anymore.
While Mayor Craig Greenberg is a Democrat and Democrats traditionally support stricter gun laws, there are calls for change coming from the other side in a state also experiencing the pain of a mass shooting. Tennessee's governor signed an executive order this week aimed at strengthening background checks for guns. The executive order requires the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to file a report within 60 days on changes that need to be made to the gun buying process in his state. And he's requiring new criminal activity to be reported with the TBI within 72 hours.
The truth is that we're facing evil itself, and we can't stop evil, but we can do something. And when there is a clear need for action, I think that we have an obligation, and I certainly do, to remind people that we should set aside politics and pride and accomplish something that the people of Tennessee want us to get accomplished. It's been a very emotionally charged couple of weeks, but we have to stay focused on the path forward. Tennesseans are depending on us.
Governor Bill Lee also says he wants lawmakers to work on ways to prevent guns from falling into the wrong hands while also preserving constitutional rights. Now, these changes in Tennessee come after the deadly shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville. 6 people were killed on March 27th after a former student shot their way into the school. 3 of the victims were elementary-aged children. The shooter was killed by police inside the school. That Covenant School has been closed ever since that shooting, but they have announced that it will reopen to students next Tuesday, April 18th. The students will be returning on a limited basis and a phased-in basis. Now, following the shooting, some Tennessee lawmakers thought that the General Assembly simply was not doing enough. A small group, now known as the Tennessee Three, protested the lack of action on the House floor. That led to 2 of the members being expelled. Well, today, both expelled members have been reappointed to the House and sworn in. Shelby County Commissioners, which represent Memphis, voted to reappoint Justin Pearson yesterday. He was sworn in at the Tennessee State Capitol this morning.
Justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Well, Representative Pearson, how do you know? Because it was just 1 week ago that we sat in the State House on the well of democracy and were persecuted. We're called out of our names. We're talked down to and talked about. We're told we didn't understand democracy. We didn't understand our responsibility. Told we didn't belong here. But today, just a week later, there's resurrection.
The other expelled representative, Justin Jones, was also reinstated back in the State House on Monday.
I want to welcome democracy back to the people's house. That on last Thursday, members of this body tried to crucify democracy, but today we stand as a witness of a resurrection of a movement of a multiracial democracy that no unjust decision will stand.
Representative Gloria Johnson, the third lawmaker who protested with Jones and Pearson, was not expelled by her House colleagues. She responded to the reappointments last night.
And hopefully we will continue this movement that has awakened a whole lot of folks and a whole lot of young people who are passionate about standing up and speaking up, and they're not going to back down.
Now, following those expulsions last week, lawmakers all across the country are calling for the Department of Justice to investigate what happened and why. Democratic Senators Raphael Warnock from Georgia and Chuck Schumer from New York are leading the efforts. They sent a letter asking Attorney General Merrick Garland to investigate what happened when Jones and Pearson were voted out. They specifically want to know whether the U.S. Constitution or federal civil rights laws were violated.